So, hello, shalom. Welcome to day 39 of the Daily Bread. We'll be reading Genesis 49 and 50, closing out Genesis. We'll be reading Judges 21, closing out Judges. Proverbs 8 and Mark 8. We'll be out reading from the Scriptures, 2009 version. Genesis 49, page 54. And Jacob called his sons and gathered together and said, Gather together, so that I declare to you what is to befall you in the last days. Gather together and hear, you sons of Jacob, and listen to Israel, your father. Reuben, you are my firstborn, my power, and the beginning of my strength, the excellency and exaltation, and the excellency of power. Boiling like water, you do not excel, because you went up to your father's bed. Then you defiled it. He went up to my couch. Shimon and Levi are brothers. Their weapons are implements of violence. Let my being not enter their council. Let my esteem not be united to their assembly. Because they killed a man in their displeasure, and they lamed an ox in pleasure. Cursed be their displeasure, for it is fierce, and their wrath, for it is cruel. I divide them in Jacob, and scatter them in Israel. You, Judah, your brothers praise you. Your hand is on the neck of your enemies. Your father's children bow down before you. Judah is a lion's cub, and the prey you have gone up. My son, you bow down. He crouched like a lion, and like a lion, who does rouse him? The scepter shall not turn aside from Judah, nor an inscriber from between his feet, until Shiloh comes, and to him is obedience of the peoples. Binding his donkey to the vine, and his donkey's colt to the choice vine, he washed his garments in wine, and his robes in the blood of grapes. His eyes are darker than wine, and his teeth whiter than milk. Zebulun dwells at the seashore. He is a haven for ships, and his border is unto Zion. Yishkar is a strong donkey lying down between two burdens. And he saw that a resting place was good, and the land was pleasant, and he inclined his shoulder to bear a burden, and became a subject to slave labor. Dan rightly rules his people, as one of the tribes of Israel. Dan is a serpent by the way, an adder by the path, that bites the horse's heels, so that its rider falls backwards. I have waited for your deliverance, O Yahweh. Gad, a raiding band raids him, but he raised its heel. Bread from Asher is rich, and he gives delicacies of a sovereign. Naphtali is a deer let loose. He gives words of elegance. Joseph is an offshoot of fruit-bearing tree, an offshoot of a fruit-bearing tree by a fountain. His branches run over a wall, and the archers have bitterly grieved him, shot at him, and hated him. But his bow remained in strength, and the arms of his hands were made strong by the hands of the mighty one of Jacob. From there is the shepherd, the stone of Israel. From the El of your father who helps you, and by the Almighty who blesses you with blessing of the heavens from above, blessings of the deep that lies beneath, blessings of the beast and of the womb. The blessing of your father have excelled the blessing of my ancestors, up to the limit of the everlasting hills. They are on the head of Joseph, and on the crown of the head of him who was separated from his brothers. Benjamin is a wolf that tears in the morning. He eats prey, and at night he devours the spoil. All these are the 12 tribes of Israel, and this is what their father spoke to them. And he blessed them. He blessed each one according to his own blessing. And he commanded them and said to them, I am to be gathered to my people. Bury me with my fathers in the cave that is in the field of Ephron the Hittite, in the cave that is in the field of Mechlam, which is before Mamre in the land of Canaan, which Abraham bought with the field of Ephron the Hittite as a possession for a burial site. And they buried Abraham. There they buried Abraham and Sarah, his wife. There they buried Isaac and Rachel, his wife, Rebekah, and where I buried Leah. The field purchased and the cave was in it from the sons of Heth. And when Jacob ended commanding his sons, he drew his feet up to the bed, breathed his last, and was gathered to his people. Genesis 50, page 56. And Joseph fell on his father's face and wept over him and kissed him. And Joseph commanded his servants and physicians to embalm his father. So that the physicians embalmed Israel. And 40 days were completed for him. For so are completed the days of embalming. And the Mizraims wept for him 70 days. And when the days of weeping for him were past, Joseph spoke to the household of the Pharaoh, saying, If now I have found favor in your eyes, please speak in the hearing of Pharaoh, saying, My father made me swear, saying, See, I am dying, bury me in the burial site which I dug for myself in the land of Canaan. And now please let me go up and bury my father and return. And Pharaoh said, Go up and bury your father, as he made you swear. And Joseph went up to bury his father, and with him went all the servants of Pharaoh, the elders of his house, and all the elders of the land of Mizraim, and all the house of Joseph, and his brothers, and his father's house. Only their little ones, and their little flocks, and their herds they left in the land of Goshen. And there went up with them both chariots and horsemen, and it was a very great company. And they came to the threshing floor of Atad, which is beyond the Jordan, and they lamented there with a great and very heavy lamentation. And he performed 7 days of mourning for his father. And when the inhabitants of the land of the Canaanites saw the mourning at the threshing floor at Atad, they said, This is the grievous mourning for the Mizraims. Why? That is why its name is called Abel Mizraim, which is beyond the Jordan. And the sons did to him as he had commanded. For his sons brought him to the land of Canaan, buried him in the cave of the field of Mechlam before Mamre, which Abraham bought in the field from Ephron the Hittite as property for a burial site. And after he had buried his father, Joseph returned to Mizraim, he and his brother and all brothers and all who went with him to bury his father. And when Joseph's brothers saw that his father was dead, they said, What if Joseph hates us and pays us back all the evil which we did to him? And they sent word to Joseph, saying, Before your father died, he commanded, saying, This is what you are to say to Joseph. I beg you, please forgive the transgression of your brothers and their sin, for they did evil to you. And now please forgive the transgression of the servants of Elohim, of your father. And Joseph wept when they spoke to him. And his brothers also went and fell down before his face, and they said, See, we are your servants. And Joseph said to them, Do not fear, for I am in the place of Elohim. And you intended evil against me, but Elohim intended for good, in order to do as it is this day, to keep great many people alive. That is such a great way of take from his circumstances what was, but it's a great take on it. Really being positive there. And now, do not fear. I provided for you and your little ones. So he comforted them and spoke kindly to them. And Joseph dwelt in Mizraim, he and his father's household. And Joseph lived 110 years. And Joseph saw Ephraim's children to the third generation. The children of Maker, son of Menish, were also born on Joseph's name. And Joseph said to his brothers, I am dying, but Elohim shall certainly visit you and bring you out of this land, in the land which he swore to Abraham, to Isaac, and to Jacob. And Joseph made the children of Israel swear, saying, Elohim shall certainly visit you, and shall bring you up my bones from there. And Joseph died, being 110 years old. And then he embalmed him, and he was placed in a coffin in Mizraim. Just a quick thing here. What was it? Chapter 45, I think it was. Yeah, chapter 45. No, it's not. It's 46 maybe? When he reveals himself, I think it's 45, but I can't find the verse. He basically said the same thing, that, hey, look, I forgive you, I understand this was God's will. So, just repeating himself there. But anyway, on to Judges 21, on page 278. And the men of Israel had sworn an oath to Mizpah, saying, not one of us shall give his daughter to Benjamin as a wife. So the people came to Bethel and sat there until evening before Elohim, and lifted up their voices and wept bitterly, and said, O Yahweh, Elohim of Israel, why has this come in Israel, that today there should be one tribe missing Israel? And it came to be on the morrow that the people rose early and built a slaughter place there, and brought ascending offering and peace offering. And the children of Israel, who is there among all the tribes of Israel, who did not come up with the assembly to Yahweh, for they had made a great oath concerning anyone who had not come up to Yahweh at Mizpah, saying, he shall certainly be put to death. And the children of Israel were sorry for Benjamin, their brother, and said, one tribe is cut off from Israel today. What do we do for wives for those who remain? Seeing we have sworn by Yahweh not to give them our daughters as wives. And they said, which one of the tribes of Israel did not come up to Mizpah to Yahweh? And see, no one had come to the camp of Yabesh Gilead to the assembly. For when the people called a roll, see, not one of the inhabitants of Gilead was there. And the congregation sent out there 12,000 of the bravest men, and commanded them, saying, go, and you shall strike the inhabitants of Yabesh Gilead with the edge of the sword, even the children and women and children. And this is what you do. You put under the ban every male and every woman who has known a man by lying with him. And they found among the inhabitants of Yabesh Gilead 400 young maidens who had not known a man. And they brought them to the camp at Shiloh, which is in the land of Canaan. Then all the congregation sent and spoke to the children of Benjamin, who were at the rock of Rimmon, and proclaimed peace to them. And Benjamin turned back at that time, repented, and they gave them the women whom they saved alive of the women of Yabesh Gilad. But even so, there were not enough for them. And the people were sorry for Benjamin, because Yahweh had made a breach in the tribes of Israel. And the elders of the congregation said, "What do we do for wives for those who remain, since the women have been destroyed out of Benjamin?" And they said, "There's an inheritance for the survivors of Benjamin, and no tribe is to be destroyed from Benjamin. But we are unable to give them wives from our daughters, for the children of Israel have sworn an oath, saying, 'Cursed be the one who gives a wife to Benjamin.' So they said, 'See, there is a yearly festival of Yahweh in Shiloh, which is north of Bethel, on the east side of the highway that goes up from Bethel to Shechem, and south to Lehom.' And they commanded the children of Benjamin, saying, 'Go lie in wait in the vineyards, and watch, and see. When the daughters of Shiloh come out to perform their dances, then you shall come out from the vineyards, and every man catch a wife for himself from the daughters of Shiloh, and go into the land of Benjamin. And it shall be, when their fathers or their brothers come to us to complain, that we shall say to them, Favor us with them, because we did not take a wife for any of them in battle, neither have you given them to them, making yourselves guilty of your oath.' And the children of Benjamin did so, and took enough wives for their number, and from those who danced, whom they caught. Then they went and returned to their inheritance, and they rebuilt the city and dwelt in them. And the children of Israel went from there at that time, each one of his to his tribe. Let me repeat this. And the children of Israel went from there at that time, each one to his tribe and clan. And they went from there, each one to his inheritance. In those days there was no sovereign in Israel. Everyone did what was right in his own eyes. Kind of like how it's supposed to be. Proverbs 8, found on page 736. Does not wisdom call, and understanding lift up her voice? On the top of the heights along the way, between the paths she has taken her stand. Beside the gates leading to the city, at the entrance she shouts, O men, I call to you, and my voice is to the sons of men. You simple ones, understand insight, and you fools, be an understanding heart. Listen, for I speak noble words, and the opening of my lips is about straightness. For my mouth speaks truth, and wrongness is an abomination to my lips. All the words of my mouth are in righteousness, none of them twisted or crooked. All of them plain to him who understands, and straight to those who find knowledge. Accept my discipline, and not silver, and knowledge rather than choice gold. For wisdom is better than rubies, and all delights are not comparable to her. I, wisdom, have dwelt with insight, and I find knowledge, foresight. The fear of Yahweh is to hate evil. I have hated pride and arrogance, and the evil way, and the perverse mouth. Counsel is mine, and sound wisdom. I am understanding, mightiness is mine. By me sovereigns reign, and the rulers make righteous inscriptions. By me princes rule and nobles, all the judges of the earth. I love those who love me, and those who earnestly seek me do find me. Riches and esteem are with me, enduring wealth and righteousness. My fruit is better than gold and fine gold, and my increase than choice silver. I walk in the way of righteousness, in the midst of the path of right ruling, to bestow substance on those who love me, and to fill their treasuries. Yahweh possessed me, the beginning of his way, as the first of his works of old. I was set up ages ago, at the first, before the earth ever was. When there were no depths, I was brought forth. When there were no springs heavy with water, before mountains were sunk, before hills, I was brought forth. Before he had made the earth and the fields, or the first dust of the world. When he prepared the heavens, I was there. When he inscribed a circle on the face of the deep, when he set the clouds above, when he made the fountains at the deep strong, when he gave the sea its law, so the waters would not transgress his mouth, when he inscribed the foundations of the earth, then I was with him, a master workman. And I was his delight, day by day, rejoicing before him all the time, rejoicing in the world, his earth, and my delights were in the sons of men. And now listen to me, you children, for blessed are they who guard my ways. Listen to discipline and become wise, and do not refuse it. Blessing is the man who listens to me, watching daily at my gates, waiting at the posts of my doors. For whoever finds me shall find life and obtain favor, blessing from Yahweh. But he who sins against me injures himself. All who hate me love death. On to Mark 8. Page 966. Okay. In those days, the crowd being very great, and not having any to eat, Yeshua called his taught ones near and said to them, I have compassion on the crowd, for they have now been with me 3 days, and I do not have food to eat. If I dismiss them unfed to their home, they shall faint on the way, for some of them have come far. And his taught ones answered him, Well, how shall anyone be able to feed these people with bread here in the desert? And he asked them, How many loaves do you have? And they said, 7. And he commanded the crowd to sit down on the ground. And taking the 7 loaves, giving thanks, he broke them and gave them into his taught ones to set before them. And they sent them before the crowd. And they had a few small fishes, and having blessed, he said to them, he said to set them before them. And they ate and were satisfied, and they picked up 7 large baskets of broken pieces. And those eating were about 4,000, and he dismissed them. And immediately entering into the boat with his taught ones, he came to the parts of Delamuth. And the Pharisees came out and begun to dispute with him, seeking from him a sign from the heavens, trying him. And sighing deeply in his spirit, he said, Why does this generation seek a sign? Truly I say to you, no sign shall be given to this generation. And leaving them, again entering into the boat, he went away to the other side, and they had forgotten to take the bread. And they did not have and they did not have more than one loaf with them in the boat. And he was warning them, saying, Mind, beware of the leaven of the Pharisees, and of the leaven of Herods. And they were reasoning with one another, saying, Because we have no bread. And Yeshua, being aware of it, said to them, Why do you reason because you have no bread? Do you not yet perceive nor understand? Is your heart still hardened? Having eyes, do you not see? And having ears, do you not hear? And do you not remember when I broke the 5 loaves for the 5,000? How many baskets filled with broken pieces did you pick up? They said to him, 12. And when I broke the 7 for the 4,000, how many large baskets filled with broken pieces did you pick up? And they said, 7. And he said to them, How do you not understand? And he came to Bethsaida, and they brought a blind man to him and begged him to touch him. And taking the blind one by the hand, he led him out of the village, and having spit on his eyes, laying hands on him, he asked him, Do you see at all? And he looked up and said, I see men like trees walking. When he placed his hands on his eyes again and made him look up, he was restored and saw clearly. And he sent him away from it to his house, saying, Do not go into the village. And Yeshua and his taught ones went out to the villages of Caesarea Philippi. And on the way he asked his taught ones, saying to them, Why do men say I am? And they said to him, Johann the Immerser, the other, and others, Elijah, but others, one of the prophets. And he asked them, And you, do you say I am? And Peter, answering, said to him, You are the Messiah, the Hamashiach. And he warned them that they should speak to no one about him. And he began to teach them that the son of Adam has to suffer much and be rejected by the elders and chief priests and scribes and be killed, and after 3 days rise again. And he was speaking about this openly when Peter, taking him aside, began to rebuke him. And turning around and seeing his taught ones, he rebuked Peter, saying, Get behind me, Satan, for your thoughts are not those of Elohim, but those of men. And calling near the crowd with his taught ones, he said to them, Whoever desires to come after me, let him deny himself and take up his stake and follow me. For whoever desires to save his life shall lose it, but whoever loses his life for the sake of me and the good news, he shall save it. For what shall it profit a man if he gains all the world and loses his own life? Or what a man shall give in exchange for his own life? For whoever is ashamed of me and my words in this adulterous and sinning generation, of him the son of Adam, who shall be ashamed when he comes in to esteem the glory of his Father with the set apart messengers. Shalom. Make it a great day. Read your Bible. Talk to the Father.